Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host Daniel Greene, and today I'm going to start this off by throwing in the towel. In a combination announcement / quickie news, we're changing things up even late in the game because this is the final season of Fantasy News if you've not been paying attention recently. Adrian Tchaikovsky has had 3 more projects announced atop the 5 we've covered in the last 3 months. And I give up. I don't know if you all remember this, but I've been trying to read every Adrian Tchaikovsky book as a part of a project where I can say I read every book, and I've managed to do 5 in 3 months, and he's announced more projects than I've read in that time, which is a little disheartening. I don't know who put what in his Wheaties, but I'm going to wait for him to slow down a bit, probably try this again in 2026, because kicking off the news, Adrian Tchaikovsky announced Preaching to the Choir, a new book pitched as Elena Mendez thought she understood what old money was. She knew her boyfriend Ross Edinburgh was rich like old money rich. She knew he was the scion of some eccentric British line that predates the whole United States. She knew he didn't really get on with his family, and that he fled to America to study free of their influence. Ross has been summoned to Enderby, the family mentioned built on a monastery centuries ago for an exclusive, mysterious family gathering that happens only once a generation. Spouses and partners aren't invited, but Ross has asked Alina to come anyway for moral support. But there are secrets in the moldering old pile, and terrors in the unkempt woods in the estate. And Alina slowly comes to realize that old money means so much more than she ever imagined. And as someone who has read Service Model, Alien Clay, the 3 released Children of Time books, and one other Adrian Tchaikovsky title that eludes me, I can't wait to see what he can do with this type of horror pick. It reminds me of the movie Ready or Not, which is a gem if you like good popcorn fun horror. Really enjoy that one. And this will be released August of 2026, and the cover art was done by Gemma Sheldrake. And then on top of that, it was announced that Adrian Tchaikovsky has another book coming down the road called Green City Wars. This has a cover reveal with art by Scola Art. That was a very difficult one for my dyslexic brain. And this is pitched as Philip Marlowe meets Redwall in this superior adult noir tale where all characters are animals fighting for survival in the city underneath the humans. Out June 23rd of 2026. I really wanted this opening to be quick and clippy as I get through the 3 new Adrian Tchaikovsky projects and just announce that I'm going to have to be kind of stepping away until these are finished. But unfortunately, there was an incongruity that popped up, and I got to get into it because we all know American books, UK books, across the land, different cultures and countries have different art and occasionally different blurbs, except the different blurbs we're getting from the UK and the US for the Green City Wars is wildly different. So let's go ahead and start with our US one, the rather simple story, shall we? Philip Marlowe meets Redwall. Let's take an especially big note here. Redwall being the first tone they're trying to make you think of here. In this superior adult noir tale, not something I would associate with Redwall. Let's go ahead and dive in further. Where all the characters are animals, we're getting more Redwall, not Redwar, which I said before. Fighting for survival in the city underneath the humans. From that, you are just kind of getting over the hedge vibes, right? There's a society of animals, humans above, survive. Cool. But the story continues. Down these mean streets, a beast must walk. Meet Scotch Raccoon, P.I. This is going to be our protagonist. Scotch the Raccoon, P.I. And note, there is no notes about him having any peculiarities aside from being, a raccoon that's apparently a PI. Yours for a few buttons. I love that. As long as the job isn't too illegal, whatever that means. I do enjoy this summary, by the way. I'm not saying it's bad inherently. That's my button. A mouse has gone missing. Normally, this wouldn't raise any hackles. It's a crime-ridden city. Nor any alarms. Ooh, not even alarms? This is a damn disgusting city. But this mouse has something that everyone seems to want, though nobody appears particularly eager to say what that something is. We have our mystery. A mouse is missing. Please, what was the occupation of the mouse? Not said. Fee is good. Perhaps too good. Ooh, steaks. Certainly not something Scotch can easily turn down, because he has to fund his Scotch habit. I put a little glass in his paw. If only Scotch can work out where the mouse is hiding. Okay, so he's not kidnapped necessarily. Seems to be hiding. What he's hiding, and why his secrets are upsetting a lot of animals caught up in the Greene City Wars. I would rate that a 7 out of 10 Blook Burb. It's Blook Blurb. Whatever. It's giving me curiosity. I want to read further. I'm interested in a noir over the hedge type thing. I'm going to give it a 7 with a circle and say that's above average. Cool. It gets a lot more intense on the other side. Let's just say that. So, let's go ahead and start with the UK one. For those who love John Scalzi's starter villain, that's a different goddamn tone than we established with Redwall. One is, Christian-themed mice surviving in a terrifying world, if I do say so myself. And the other is John Scalzi saying, dude, no way, wow, a whole lot. And there happens to be a talking cat at one point, if I remember correctly. I did try and erase that from my brain. Adrian Tchaikovsky's service model. Finished that book. Did love it. This crime-inspired adventure will draw you deep into an incredible world. We're on track so far, except for the entirely different comp title. In a city of sunshine and secrets, the shadows belong to the animals. Ooh, okay. Now we're saying there's like a bright world with some beautiful vibes, but the animals are staying secret and safe. Okay. One genetically engineered raccoon races to expose a deadly conspiracy before it tears this whole world apart. Okay. Where the fuck did cybernetics come in? I gave him a satellite on his butt and a gun in his hand, because that's how I don't know. That's how I'd genetically modify a raccoon. But damn, that's a twist and turn. In a solar-powered future, okay, so we're doing solar punk now, again, how Redwall was chosen, aside from cute animals, I do not know. And there's my cute little solar panel. Humans live in luxury, served by unseen little helpers, artificially enhanced animals who maintain their perfect green cities. All right, so now I actually think this is 10 times more tantalizing from go. Are you kidding me? Okay. So now we have these beautiful, perfect green cities for humans where genetically modified animals are supposed to keep the peace for them. Okay. Whoa. And it's a solar punk story? Color me curious. But it gets even better from there. Why do the UK people always get better book stuff? The animal's golden rule. Do not bother the humans. Yet beneath this tranquil one of my favorite words, a complex underworld of animal politics, crime, and conflict thrives. Suddenly we're going full-on, like, Greenbone Saga crime syndicate within the world of solar punk. This was so much more boring. This was so much better already, and we're only halfway there. Enter Scotch, a freelance raccoon investigator. His biggest problem was a lack of work. Now, his work may get him killed. And his latest case, finding a fugitive mouse scientist. But powerful forces are also after the mouse, and they're willing to kill for his secrets. Can Scotch navigate this treacherous Reb, outsmart rat gangsters, beat a deadly weasel assassin, and keep his pelt intact? This is reading like one of my favorite B-list movie synopsi ever. This is so good. More importantly, can he find his quarry before the elusive rodent breaks Rule 1? In the most apocalyptic way and shatter their fragile world. US people, I want you to take this one. I want you to put it in the dumpster. and I want you to come over here, and I want you to take this amazing accomplishment of literature, and this is your one. We have Rat Gangsters, a scientist who's got a secret, who's a mouse, who might end all of the world. There's Weasel Assassins, apparently, and solar punk stuff established, and now he's not just Scotch the Raccoon, which is good enough, but he's mechanized PI, Scotch the Raccoon. Do you think Americans are too impatient and stupid to read the slightly longer one? Because we may be stupid and disappointing. We might have boiled our attention spans on shitty social media sites that we are now blasting to the rest of the world. And quite possibly we have elected the dumbest man in modern history to be our president. But we, damn it, deserve to hear about the Mecha Raccoon. And then finally, a new Black Library dropped happened, and there is a story by Adrian Tchaikovsky in it titled On the Shoulders of Giants and Other Stories. This is going to have a main story by our boy A.T., followed up with a collection stuffed on in there as well, because the Black Library needs more books. I don't know if you know this, it's a very slim library, not many entries there at all, really. I really hope y'all get the sarcasm in that. But we're going to move away from me tossing in the towel, at least till next year, so that I can actually release a video that's not dated within a few months, to some sad news, unfortunately, but one that I would like to transform into honoring a legend. Because someone who helped shape how we view science fiction and fantasy and marketing has passed. The iconic artist Drew Struzan died at 78 after a battle with Alzheimer's. And while that is absolutely tragic, I want to take it as an opportunity to share some of my favorite works by him and just gush over how the man behind Blade Runner, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Back to the Future, Goonies, and so much more, including many famous rock albums by the likes of the Beach Boys and Black Sabbath. This guy just mastered this painted yet realistic, colorful yet cold if it needs to be style that became so synonymous with many of the greatest movies from the era he was operating in that modern movie posters still feel like they're trying to live up to the standard he set. Personal favorite is Blade Runner. I know now the blue and orange with the head collage has become such a cliche, but in a vacuum, just examining this for what it is, the play with warm lights, yet this cold landscape and the rain inclusion, and totally managing to communicate a cyberpunk vibe without falling into a lot of the cliches now that can make cyberpunk feel a little corny. It's just a total success. So yes, I'm so sad to hear him pass, but he lived a long life from what we can tell and left a massive impact. So I would love to end this story by asking you all what your favorite Drew Struzan poster is down below. Did you know he was the artist behind all of this before we covered it? Because I cannot think of a time in my life where I did not at least my young adult life, where I did not at least have one Drew Struzan poster on the wall. We are having a celebration of 10 years of Illumicrate, and to kick it off, they are releasing a new set for one of my favorite book series in the sci-fi space of all time. One I thought would never have a new set of covers that would top some of the previous entries, a series that's never really had a bad entry of terms of cover art, and that is going to be Murderbot, with art by Guy Warley and design by Chatty Nora. And I'm just impressed to say I think these look great. Not only is the Murderbot design kind of actually incorporate what feels like a couple elements from the show, but nails what's coming across in the book. Like the desaturated landscapes on one side, complemented by this pop of color on the left. Something about that manages to communicate the amount of personality in this book that clashes with intentionally the corporate atmosphere. It also makes me extra happy that many people I've seen complain about the price tag for hardcovers of the Murderbot series in the past. This full set, starting with all System Red and ending with System Collapse, is going to only cost 93 euros/pounds. I can never remember which one this symbol is, and it'll be available November 20th. And while it's only going to be sold on the Illumicrate UK website, they will be shipping internationally, so good for you all. And if you want to take the money that you maybe would have expected to spend more on for these Illumicrate editions and put it elsewhere, perchance may I interest you in a new edition of the Books of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, coming from Curious King. They are in the higher end of deluxe book makers, and this one is killer, and no question why. It's got art from Tom Kidd, who you may know from his work on The Last Unicorn. I adore these, and these are going to be available for pre-order in early 2026. I'm a sucker for Book of Earthsea aesthetics, and it's still one of my biggest disappointments going in and seeing the Earthsea adaptation from Studio Ghibli. I know that's like largely unrelated to this, but damn, that sucked. Such a magnificent series that doesn't rely on having an antagonist, and for some reason, the Studio Ghibli didn't get that. There's also the whole story about Ursula K. Le Guin thinking that Miyazaki would do the movie and then his son doing it, and that sucked. Anyway, let's move on. Next news. And a rather apt series is getting its sequel turned into a special edition as well, and that is because the second book in the Greenbone saga, Jade War, is going to be getting the same treatment that Jade City did from Subterranean Press. And if you were happy with the price of the Murderbot books, I'm going to need you to take your butt cheeks and clench them to get ready for these ones, because if you want the one of 26 lettered editions, that is going to cost you $1,500. And if you just want one of the signed limited editions, don't worry, that one's just $275. Goodbye, my chances of ever owning these ones. It was nice having you for a moment. Though, like, credit where credit is due, the artwork on these by Mika Epstein is maybe the best I've seen for the Greenbone saga. And there's been some good Greenbone saga book covers. My favorite thing about them, though, is just how effectively red is used. It's clearly a theme that was just fully embraced, and it captures the more violent entry in the Greenbone saga, though they're all quite violente. But I'm sad to say, this next entry I am just not as hot on, and no disrespect to the fans, I know there's plenty out there, but we have had an announcement from Dungeons & Dragons for Forgotten Realms entry following the character Breezy Duerden, Drist's daughter, going shortened by Bree. I would just like to ask if we could not. Don't get me wrong, I have a big connection to the Forgotten Realms books when I was a little kid. My brother was super into them, so me being the younger brother, I absolutely wanted to read them, and I did, and I remember even crying at one character death. It was so emotional, and then I came back to the series as an adult wanting to recapture that, and it did not happen. And the idea of following Drist's daughter doesn't interest me too much, and on top of that, Breezy? That's just kind of like a name to me. I don't know why, I just do not like that. The cover art does look all right, though, and it's available now for those fans that are out there. And again, if this is your thing, no disrespect meant. I just got to be true to my soul, put it on the table for you to judge. And then we also had a cover reveal, we're heavy on him this week, from Rob J. Hayes, and that would be for his upcoming release, Hammerfall, which is a God Eater novel with art by Andrea Tarzia. Possibly the most epic cover reveal of the week. Not best, but most inspiring, you know? And I was going to make a God of War joke about the thing on the hip, but then I got self-conscious that people would think I thought that that was just from the God of War franchise and not a reference to actual mythology. So I retracted it, and I'm next news. An audience, my conflict for this book continues to grow. It has managed to achieve consistently the largest gap between the quality of the cover and my opinion of the interior story. And that is going to be for the special edition coming out for Starter Villain. I genuinely detested this book, but I maintain its cover is one of the best of the year it was released in. And on top of that, this special edition from Owl Crate is so pastel perfect. And the alternate cover you can see almost as good. I really like both of them. This involves art from Fleeting Ember, Panjuln Art, and several more coming together to collaborate on this. John Scalzi, not my taste. John Scalzi, not my author, but I really think this is a great one for his fans, and I hope they appreciate it, because even the sprayed edges being a bunch of kitty cats, I would love it all the more if the book actually followed through on its premise. I need to stop doing shots. It's not a review, Daniel. It's not a review. Put it back in the holster. We're going to shift out of the cover news and now start talking about some industry news. And that is because Rebecca Kuang has just signed a 4-book deal with her longtime publisher HarperCollins that is going to last until 2030. The first book in this deal, Taipei Story, will be released autumn of 2026. And about this deal, Kuang said, HarperCollins has been my home through my entire career, and I am just so grateful that I get to keep working with the incredible team who has done such gorgeous, brilliant work on my books over the years. And I know, because we're all nosy Nellies, that we want to know what the dollar amount was. We have no right to, and that's rude. We all want to know. It's not included. I'm sorry. I'm going to speculate. 40 glepples. Getting into the industry news. Tron Ares is a massive dumpster fire for Disney, and who would have seen that coming with them hiring a cult leader to be one of the stars of it? Why does he keep getting work? Why? Why does Jared Leto keep getting... He's not, and I want to say this kind of objectively, a very good actor. He's just okay. Like, taking away all the scandals and everything, his acting is just fine. Like, it's not bad. It's not great. Why? But let's go ahead and pop on over into some crazy cool trailers that dropped this week, including one for the series that inspired the Tom Cruise helmed live-action sci-fi smash hit Edge of Tomorrow. All You Need Is Kill. The manga is finally getting an anime, and I don't know what you call this style of anime, aside from great, but this colorful, almost mushy aesthetic just fits so well for these gory thriller horror type stories, and I can't wait to watch this. This is shooting to the top of my TBW. Now, this is a movie that'll be released in theaters January 16th, and it's so funny to still see people in the comments arguing like, Edge of Tomorrow ripped this off. No. Do 5 seconds of research. 5 seconds! And I want to give a big shout out to fellow YouTuber Amanda the Jedi, and be excited for this upcoming movie release, Velocipaster 2. I know, right up there with The Godfather in terms of titles, concept, and execution. This Jurassic horror experience is a sequel to a darling in the C-list schlock genre, and it was so thrilling to see Amanda the Jedi pop in there and give her reaction as an extra. I love whenever this happens as a YouTuber, seeing some of my friends manage to get opportunities to just kind of be involved in the industries they are, you know, making their livelihoods being a fan of. But we're going to be closing out the fantasy news this week with some record-smashing news after letting you know, if you are interested in the DCC webtoon but hate reading on your phone like myself, it is going to be getting a print release. And then on top of that, man, it kind of feels like a little bit of deja vu for authors I love smashing records on Kickstarter. And that is because as of recording, the Dungeon Crawler Carl Kickstarter has raised over $2.165 million on Kickstarter with 8,874 backers and still 25 days to go. This makes it the highest grossing lit RPG Kickstarter ever, and it's in the top 5 of book publishing Kickstarters ever. I thought perhaps we've been getting too much from DCC, and fans possibly could be getting burned out with so many adaptations and side stories and other authors getting involved being announced, but seems absolutely not. All of us want to be some dungeon crawlers. Carls. All right. Any last minute news that dropped before I can sign out of this bitch? Oh, Ryan Coogler apparently signed on to develop an X-Files reboot because his mom is a big fan of the original series. Quote, I want to do right by her and the fans. My mom has read some of the stuff I wrote for it. She's fired up. That's wholesome as hell. I don't know how I feel about him not saying I'm a fan, but like, yeah, you want to do right by your mom. Oh, my memory card's full. All right, everybody, I'm just going to put something goofy on screen. Thank you so much. If you want to see my Jade Board Patreon summary, it'll be up noon tomorrow. Love, love, love. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and have a good one. Tell someone you love them. Have a good one, y'all.